military industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military industrial complex.
And we as a people will get to the promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Our email is shtf@topsbunker.com. Our website is topsbunker.com. Don't forget to check the show notes on your podcast player for valuable links and extra info on this episode. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We've got a great show for you. Tonight, Rhonda and I are the guests on the show, and Buddy will be interviewing us about the homestead. That's only been 2 years in the making, but progress is happening and things are getting done. We'll talk about the challenges and the successes as well as the mistakes made, big fails, and a few regrets. From 1 acre to 100 acres, it's all the same. From conception to ownership, homesteading is a big endeavor. So tonight we hope to enlighten you with our progress and help spark your interest to get you moving in the right direction towards homesteading. Let's talk about that. How did your trip go? Didn't you go out to do some teaching? What was that all about? Like for a week?
Oh yeah. We taught in a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, and we taught fire and police for a town. So it worked out pretty good. I mean, we did about 130 people, maybe a little more. There was roughly 25 a day, sometimes a little more. Yeah, it was good. It was a good time, man. Very hot, very humid, long days, but looking back on it, it was great.
Well, we got Rhonda on with us tonight. Say hello to everybody, Rhonda. I'm sure they miss you.
Hello, everybody.
Yep, and they're probably all wondering where the is Dirty Garden Hose. What's going on?
Dirty Garden Hose not been feeling dirty enough lately.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had to go take a bath, right?
Getting too dirty, actually. Well, Buddy's got some people that he wants to come on with you, so we got to figure out whether you still want to be doing that or not. Britt is going to be coming on with us from Refuge. Well, she's not from Refuge Medical anymore, is she?
No, she's moved on.
She moved on, and she'll be with us on Thursday, right?
Yeah, she'll come on. We'll record Thursday. Got a couple different topics, 3 actually to choose from. And we'll talk about that after.
That podcast episode will be coming up the next couple of weeks or so.
And then tomorrow we got a special guest. We won't name him until tomorrow, but he has his own podcast. It's pretty popular. I've been listening to him for a while, so that'll be a very nice episode, I believe. I've got a few people lined up for us to have their own podcasts, and they're YouTubers or they have podcasts and
content creators.
Yeah, content creators, and they're in the same space we're in, so it'll be nice to get some fresh perspectives out there on with us and partner a little bit, and I'm sure they'll reciprocate.
You're so good at that, buddy.
It's always no if you don't ask. So I've been asking a lot lately, and I've been ignored, and I've been yes to death, and I've, so
It's always no if you don't ask. I like that.
yeah, I learned that as a kid. And a lot of times it was no after I asked. So, hey.
Well, you asked Rhonda to come on tonight, and she said yes. So what is the reason why? Not that we don't want her on. We want her on all the time.
Yeah, true. I think the ratings go up every time she comes on. So I think we need to really remember that. So, but yeah, tonight, kind of have a special treat. I would like to interview the both of you on your homestead and, pretty much update everybody on what's been going on, and for our new listeners, why you chose to homestead. And there's a few questions along the way. So,
right. And we have the Honeycomb Holler YouTube channel, but I'm going to confess that I have not put videos up on it lately. I'm not exactly happy with the way that they've been going. The camera equipment I got is all I got. It's okay. It's not great. So I do the best I can with it. And the production is difficult sometimes because a lot of our projects are time sensitive, and not because they are the type of product they are or a project, but because of when they're going down. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere, we need to build a 2-story chicken coop, and it's like, okay, when we have 48 hours to do it. And it's like, oh, damn, now I got to have to record this too. It's that kind of a thing. Recording takes, hands off to all the content creators out there. It's difficult to record and to actually get the job done at the same time, and I'm talking about the people that actually do a job and record it, not just people that walk around with a camera, show them, saying, that's a cool building, like actually build the building and film yourself doing it. Then come talk to me.
Man, I've tried.
I was going to say, sometimes I just plain forget. Like a couple of weeks ago, I found a snake in one of the nests in the chicken coop. Oh. And I went and told Keith there's a snake in there. And then I came back outside and I got it out. Well, he came outside with his camera ready to video stuff, and I'd already gotten it out of the nest. And
I was like, what are you doing? You got to put that back. I got to record you getting that. But once in a lifetime, not a once in a lifetime thing, but we get the snake every couple of weeks. But this was a big one, and she went in and got it.
Was huge,
it was probably like at least 3 feet long. I thought.
I was holding it chest high, and it was curled up. It had to be 5 foot long.
Didn't you put a video out there on it?
I have one on my phone.
Oh, I didn't. I got to pop that onto Facebook on the bunker, because I filmed you carrying it across the.
Yeah, you're supposed to crop my big ass out of it, remember?
This is what women think about when they think about, oh, yeah. I got it right here. That's a big old snake. But it's it was a black, what kind of snake was that again, Rhonda?
A rat snake or a
rat snake, yeah.
A rat snake, yeah.
Stinky. Ew.
Man, it seems like they'll eat your eggs, but
all day, dude.
But they also will eat rats too. So
yeah, they're a good thing to have around.
Yeah. So it's kind of, do you want them there? Do you not want them there?
We want them there. We just don't like it when you open the hutch and your face is right there, 3 inches from it. That's what you don't like.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
And I didn't realize how bad they smell. One of their defense tactics is secreting something that really stinks really bad.
One of those snakes, I think you're right. That it's rat snake. You can smell it before you see it.
We don't mind if they take a couple eggs here and there, if it keeps them healthy and they keep away the mice and the rats. That's fine. I haven't really seen any mice lately. It may be the heat. It's possible. But we're out in the woods and we should have mice, and I haven't seen them. So I'm thinking that, maybe all these chickens running around and the snakes, of course. I think they're taking care of business.
Sounds like it. All right. So we're going to start out with a couple questions. So what is y'all's motivation to homestead? What was the reason behind, the whole homesteading idea?
I will say, because I've been thinking about this and doing this for a long time, probably way longer than Rhonda, but for me, this was end game for me. Was, getting the property, getting the bug out location was always the end game, but we don't have a bug out location. We have a homestead, which can double as a bug out location because of where we chose to build it. That was the important thing. Homestead, you can put a homestead on a half an acre property in the middle of the city if you want to. You can homestead anywhere where where you're able to do stuff legally. We chose to go way away from people
on purpose.
For a reason, because it could be a homestead and double out as a bug out location should shit hit the fan somewhere in the world, and we got a big enough place for friends and family to come, which is also important. That was my motivation.
Well, for me, I've also, maybe I didn't think of it as a homestead, but I've also wanted to move to the country for many, many years and have the image in my head like most women probably do, of having a, front porch to sit on and rocking chairs and grandkids playing in the yard and so forth. Well, that is a big deal to me, to have a place where our family can come visit, and it's interesting for them to come and see all the animals and how we do things, and, the garden growing. One of the things when we were living in the city, of course, we wanted away from the city and the crime and everything, but also we wanted to get out from under public utilities, which we haven't done completely yet, but at least we don't have a water payment anymore. We don't depend on the city for our water anymore. We still have an electric bill, but, with luck, someday we'll have a lot of solar panels out here, and that won't be as big. Self-sufficiency, of course, is the ultimate goal. And it felt really nice when, the first thing that we were able to give up buying at the grocery store was the eggs from all the chickens. And I don't even think about it anymore, but it really is cool that we don't have to buy eggs. And it seems like we're buying less and less from the grocery store now that our garden is going. And it's really rewarding to think about that.
Nice.
And there's other things too that, we don't grow intentionally. Like there's chanterelle mushrooms that we're able to harvest out of the yard after the rainy season. And those are really nutritious, full of vitamin D3 especially. And we also have other plants that are medicinal and also edible, and that comes in handy. Sometimes I pick stuff for us and put it in salad or whatever, but it comes in really handy with feeding the chickens and the guineas and all of them. I can go pick stuff and just throw it to them.
That's true. Is that your belly?
That's the dog.
It's dinner time.
I was going to say, you sound like you're hungry.
So what's a typical day look like for you guys on that homestead? I mean, just a normal Tuesday. What does that look like?
Rhonda's got the worst of it because Rhonda is still working a full-time job. I'm not. And she still has to work a full-time job all day. But before she goes to that full-time job, she's outside doing work. She's out doing homestead work on the property. And she doesn't have to. She wants to, but that's the only time she can do it. And then when she gets off for her break for lunch, what does she do? She goes outside and she works again.
It's the best part of my day.
Like right now, while we're recording, we'd be outside getting dirty. We'd be doing stuff, and we do it until the sun goes down.
First, the dogs have started waking us up at 5 a.m. on regular schedule. And I don't
mind 5:36-ish, but this 5 o'clock thing.
It's pitch black outside and can't do anything. But I go outside and, let all the birds out of their cages. And when I say birds, I'm talking about the 20 guineas, and we have 10 pullets. They're little hens that we bought, and 4 turkeys. And then we have our original 21 chickens also. So I go out, and they're all in different areas, and, throw them some scratch, give them fresh water, whatnot, and let them all out. So that's what I do in the morning because I enjoy spending a little time with them before I go to work.
Yeah. And this, especially this time of year right now, because we're experiencing, like most of the country, we're experiencing a very bad heat wave for our area, and chickens and flock all together. Believe it or not, most flock animals will do well in the wintertime. When it gets extremely, extremely cold for many days in a row, there is some danger of frostbite and some other things. But for the most part, they're pretty good with cold. And a lot of people are worried about that. They're worried about the wintertime getting their birds through it. They'll get through it. What's really bad for them is the heat. When you start getting up at the mid-90s and 100 and even over 100 degrees for days at a time, that's when it becomes very dangerous for flock animals, any kind of bird, fowl type animals. And you got to keep that water going. You got to keep that water clean. You got to keep it cool. You got to have areas out there where they can get into them and cool their bodies off because they heat up.
Yeah. And we kind of take turns taking care of the watering.
Whether it's in the morning or afternoon or even at night, there's always some kind of watering to do. And laying birds, like chickens, their bellies get really, really hot. And especially on these really hot days, it's dangerous for them. So it's really good if they have someplace cool to go to. So they've taken up a spot in Rhonda's shed in the dirt where they fluff around, dig holes, and they get down into that dirt where it's nice and cool, and they lay their bellies up in it. And sometimes they go in the water. We have these little pond things that we built out of plastic tubs, and we fill them up a couple times a day. And they get out there and they'll get their bellies in it and warm themselves or cool themselves off. They have warm bellies because they need to.
They're trying to sit on the eggs.
Sit on eggs, exactly. I would say that Rhonda's got the hardest job out of it all because she's going from morning until night. She does not stop.
Well, once I come in here and hit the computer, sit at the desk, Keith goes out and he starts working on everything and watering the garden and doing whatever chores need to be done, or there's always some kind of project to work on.
Well, it sounds like you guys got a good teamwork going on.
Tag teaming it, yeah. Lunchtime, I usually go out and work in the garden, maybe trimming some of the plants, or I don't know, piddling around, harvesting whatever's ready, picking stuff to give to the animals.
When you are homesteading, especially to be self-sufficient, not just to have a homestead, you can have a regular job, you and your significant other, and you can have a homestead and you can pay for it and do everything you need the old-fashioned way through a job and, through the city utilities and all that. Or you can try and be self-sufficient and work on the homestead. The problem is, and this is what I didn't think about prior to, you work 7 days. There's no days off when you're homesteading. There's not a single day where your property doesn't have to have something done that day. It's just the chores don't stop. They don't care. Chores don't care what day of the week it is. So when you have a normal job, you get to go to work for Monday through Friday or maybe through Saturday or something, and you get a day or two off, sometimes 3 if you're lucky. You don't get that when you're homesteading. You will work every day. So make sure you love it before you get into it, because you'll be doing a lot of it.
That's a good point.
Well, there's always going to be some work that you don't love too, but most of it, I would say, is enjoyable.
So if you have a chore, something that you don't like, how do you guys approach that?
Well, I generally approach it with a scowl on my face.
I procrastinate.
Procrastinate. Yeah.
I'm a procrastinator.
The gardening is fun, but for me, getting down on my knees and it's hard to be on your knees out in the garden, leaning over and working with plants, delicate stuff. I got to be honest. I hate any work that requires you to be on your knees. I'm not built that way. My body's not built for, being on your knees all day. And I did it as an electrician, as in maintenance and all kinds of stuff. I've worked on my knees for a long time, but now I'm doing it in the garden. It's still just the same thing. Get on your knees and bend over and your back's hurting. And I don't like doing that part, but I do love the garden. And we have got a significant garden. We'll talk about that coming up. I was supposed to do a lot of work in the forest this past winter. There's no ticks. There's no snakes. There's very few spiders. It's a great time. No leaves, no brush, easy to walk through. It's a great time to work in the forest on your trees, pulling down trees and getting them over to the mill to cut for wood. And this keeps you out of Home Depot and the big box stores and trying to buy wood. You just make your own wood, but you got to cut those trees down. It's hard work. It's hard work to cut down a 75-foot, 80-foot tree.
Oh yeah.
And then it hits the ground. Then you got to clean it all off. All the stuff's got to come off it. Then you got to pile it all up. Then you got to grind it all up. Then you got to cut it up and you got to get it. You got to skid it out to your, where you need to get to. It's hard work. It's not easy. And we had such a weird winter last year. If it wasn't snowing profusely, it was just pouring down rain. It was nothing but mud piles everywhere. And I don't have the equipment really to pull these things. I have my truck and all you do is just slip and slide everywhere. And I got a tractor that barely works because it's, it was built in 1951, and in the cold, it don't like to be cold. It likes to just sit and be relaxed in the wintertime. So I had a rough go at it, but I'm going to try and make up for it this next season by getting a whole bunch of it done in the fall and then a whole bunch of it towards spring and maybe leave the dead of winter for some other projects that we have to get done.
That's cool. What is one thing that you guys wish you knew before you started homesteading?
My biggest thing was to be a beekeeper. I want to keep bees, and I am a beekeeper. And I made some mistakes early on. And a few of those things were when you buy bees, you buy bee packages, they're brand new bees. And I don't remember anybody ever telling me that brand new bees don't produce for a year or two. I don't remember that. If you want to have bees that produce right away for you, you have to buy what's called nukes, Nucs. That stands for nucleus. Hard to say. I pulled a buddy. But anyway, so yeah, you can buy a nucleus. Now, what that is a bee package that these are already bees that are on their way. They've got brood, they got babies, they got honey, they got everything in there. You buy now. It costs you an additional $150 for this. So
Wow.
where you would be spending $200 on a package, you're now spending $350 for a nuke. But they're ready to go. You put that nuke in a beehive, and they just boom, they explode. This I didn't know. And the country, maybe the world, but the country definitely saw a 50 to 80% loss in bees.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it's bad. 24-25 season. There's still, all the different organizations and the colleges and everybody, they're all still trying to figure out why. But it is true. And I lost 50% of my bees as well. I've only got 2 hives. I even tried to split, make a 3rd hive about 4 weeks ago. And they just disappeared. They just died off.
Yeah, happened to a buddy of mine. A buddy of mine lost his queen. He doesn't know why. He goes, "Yeah, I'm on my 3rd year now, but I still have no honey." So
we're on our 2nd year, and we got about 3 gallons, and it is absolutely delicious. And we just finished the last drop like 2 days ago.
Oh wow!
I'm about to pull like another maybe 2 gallons, but I shouldn't be doing that. I should be pulling, 10, 15, 18 gallons out of 4 hives. But I don't have 4 hives. I have 2 struggling hives that are, and now we're going to be getting towards winter. And if you take too much of their honey, they can't survive through winter.
Oh,
That's their food. You take too much of their honey and they die. So you only take just enough for yourself, keeping everything else for them. I am a beekeeper, and I will never be a master beekeeper. That takes a long time. But I am a beekeeper, and I wish I had known a few things more about that, because the loss was heavy. Not just expensive, but the loss was, when you watch all your bees die, you walk out there and you've got literally tens of thousands of dead bees all over the place. And your heart just drops. It's hard.
that would be tough.
For me, I wish I would have known or realized more about the amount of time and money required. It's just, I'm terrible at that anyway, as far as judging the amount of time something's going to take. I'm very optimistic usually, and it always takes longer than I expect. But the amount of work involved and the amount of projects, the ongoing projects and things that pop up, it gets a little overwhelming if you don't plan it the right way. So you really have to think about the amount of work and then the number of hours required. Just like with the chicken, this last chicken coop or chicken run, we bought all these guineas. I think we had 21 to start with, plus 10 little chicks with them. So 30 something birds. And they grow so fast. You think, we have 8 weeks to work with. And that flies by, and before you know it, you have 1 week to get something ready to put them outside. And we had an old chicken run out here that was run down, dilapidated. And it didn't seem like it was going to take very long to get that thing ready, but it ended up taking several days. How many days did we spend working on that?
Needed a lot of work. It took a week.
It took about a week when I thought it was going to take 1 or 2 days. But that's just one example. It takes a lot of time.
So are you the type of personality that likes to start something and finish it before you go on to the next project, or are you a multitasker?
I'm definitely a multitasker. I have so many unfinished projects laying around. Keith is the opposite, I think.
I am the opposite, but and this is why I try and time things out. Like I knew those Keats or those guinea hen, or what do they call them? Guinea Keats were in the brooder, which we built in our garage. And we're talking about a 6x6 chicken wired house that went all the way to the roof, the ceiling of the garage, massive structure for all these birds. And the bigger they get, the more they need, the more they smell, the more they poop, the more they have to be
The
cleaned.
more they fight with each other.
They start fighting when they start getting, all cooped up. That's where the phrase cooped up comes from, and they're all getting cooped up in there, and you're just struggling because you're like, okay, it's got to happen today. And it doesn't. You're out there, you're like, shit, I spent today on half of the fence around this thing. Tomorrow I'll try to spend the other half. Then we got to clean out the bottom. We had to put a bunch of bug bombs in the thing, first of all, because it was an old coop that was filled with spiders and nasties.
There's lots of brown recluse spiders out here.
Tons of brown recluse spider everywhere. So we gotta kill all those off, get those done. That's dangerous. You get hit by a brown recluse, you're going to a hospital.
Oh yeah.
You still have all the other chores to keep up with during that time too.
I think Rhonda's really, she hit on something that I would love to do a whole episode about probably one day, but something that Rhonda hit on was the cost. And it goes back to that other regret type of thing, or what we talked about earlier, what didn't you know and wish you did. If you're going to get a homestead, be very careful what you're willing to spend and all that. If you spend all of your money and all of your future income on the homestead, you're not going to have money for stuff you need, and you will need stuff. We're very, very good at taking old stuff and making it into new stuff. We Frankenstein shit all day. But you can't Frankenstein a tractor with a front loader and a backhoe. Yeah. You got to buy one. And the old tractor we got out there is just a tractor. It's got a PTO on the back. It runs a brush hog, it runs a blade on the back. That's it. There's no loader. So everything that we do, we have to do by hand because we can't afford a tractor. Tractors are very expensive, starting $15,000. Very expensive machinery. You can get some used ones out there probably for $6,000, but you're paying cash. It's going to be $6,000 cash. Who's got $6,000 cash right now in their pocket? I definitely don't.
Not me.
So it's a big deal, man. When you go down and you pick up a truckload of compost, which you're going to probably have to do, because you're not going to make your own compost, a truckload of your own compost in the first, a couple of weeks. You're going to need help. You're going to need dirt. You're going to need stuff. When you're moving that, you're moving it with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. Yeah. You're not moving it with a front loader. You should be moving it with a front loader. So think about those things. And that's one of the things that kind of sort of disappointed me, because I realized we have this amazing place, but we have $0 to spend on extra equipment that's needed. So everything is done by physical labor.
In 100-degree heat.
You don't want to have to shovel by hand a giant pile of compost. You don't want to do it, especially in the heat.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I would dig ditches all day. Wouldn't affect me. But when you're older, you have to think about these things. Oh, I can do it. Okay, good. That's a good attitude. Go into it with that attitude, because you're going to need that.
Yeah, that's definitely when you're older, just tying your shoe takes longer,
Everything hurts.
Do you guys feel like you're learning lessons like, okay, we can cut corners here? Do you record your challenges, your wins, your losses? Do you have a book with, okay, we need this, we want this would be nice to have. This is, definitely something we can't afford kind of thing. But is that something you guys do?
I have a spreadsheet like that, but we actually do have a book that Keith bought that has the specific pages to write in there for each season. What did you do this season? What worked? What didn't work? What do you need to do differently next season? And we are planning to sit down and start writing in that pretty soon.
Yeah, we have a 6 by 4 foot, giant dry erase board in the growing room in the basement, which is where we do all our seedlings and all that.
Yeah.
And on that board is got everything that we've done. Everything, every date that we started something, every date that we transplanted something, what crops worked, which ones didn't, all that stuff. So I have all the information I need, plus what's locked in my head to write everything down for spring. And I'm going to do that. Now we're in the middle of summer, and it's a whole new ball game of stuff to learn. There's so many things that we didn't know. You just have to learn. You live and you learn what's in your area. You do all the things you think you know to do, and you get on, obviously, on YouTube University, and you learn from everybody out there that's made the mistakes already, and you try their stuff, but they don't live in your area. So not everything works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How much money do we spend on seeds? Johnny seeds?
A couple $100.
Ooh.
A couple $100. And that's just for seed. And you start thinking about each packet cost, anywhere from $2 to $7. $200 and something worth of seeds is a lot of seed.
And to be fair, we didn't use all of them.
No, we didn't. But if we want to be realistic about it, I would say 40% of what we sowed did not germinate.
Wow.
That's true.
40%. I would say it's 4 out of 6 seeds didn't come up.
Is that from your starts, your seed pods, or was that actually in the ground planting?
No, that was from seed pods and starter trays. And we had the whole setup going, and we had the lights and the heaters and all that. I think what happened was we actually started about 2, maybe 3 weeks too late in the winter. You need to start doing your sowing in January.
Yeah, definitely.
January to late January. We didn't start until the end of February going into March. It was definitely too late. It was at least 3 weeks too late. That has to change next year but when it was time for them to go actually in the ground, all the stuff that we wanted, they weren't ready yet. They still needed to be hardened off outside, for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And then we got our brassicas in the ground, which are like broccolis and
the cool weather crops.
It just was too warm for them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the summer was here and they weren't producing. And they like to be in the cold. They like to be in the ground right at your last frost. In order to do that, you got to start sowing those seeds way back in January when it's freezing out. And you're like, why would we do this in January? That's why you do it in January. So there's so many tiny little lessons like that we learned.
I had an instructor when I was going through, different classes on horticulture and beginner's gardening and things of that nature. This guy, he would always say, if you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. And he goes, he would like just try to beat it into us. You need to have a book. He goes, I have notebooks that I've had for years, and it'll have a year on there. And I'll write, he was a big on the, what are those little notebooks? You can get them for like $1 at Walmart. They're hard
Mead or something.
Yeah.
Mead books. Yeah.
Ledgers.
Ledgers, yeah. And so he would write the stuff down, and he said, I kept them for years. And, you write it down, you take notes, and you write what was good, what was bad, what was ugly, basically is what he was saying. And, it made a lot of sense to me. I get lazy where I don't, I'll throw a seed in the ground. It's like, oh shit, what did I plant? Well, we'll see. We'll see in a few months.
We really wanted okra and corn, and we planted the corn and the okra at the same time seed wise. We sowed it in little trays in our basement grow room with lights and all that stuff. Okay. We learned which seeds needed the heat, which ones didn't, all that kind of stuff. And we got a tray full of okra, beautiful little tiny okra plants that were, 4 or 6 inches tall. We bring them outside. We harden them off, which you're supposed to do. The reason why you harden them, I'm sure
Yeah.
Because the lighting that you use in your grow is nowhere near, it's a fraction of what the sunlight is.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a fraction. You got to get those lights right up next to the leaves. And they're still only getting a fraction of what the real sunlight is. So when you put them outside, if you just throw them right out into the sun, they bake and they're not used to it and it kills them. So you got to do what's called hardening off, and you kind of put them in the shade. And we have a little area in the back porch where it got a little bit of sun in the morning and shade all the rest of the day. And it worked out great. It was a great place to harden everything off. Then we get the okra in the ground, and what happened? Mr. Rabbit comes into our garden and eats every single one of our okras.
Wow.
Every one of them down to the nub, they were gone. So what do you do now? Do you start all over again? It's too late.
Yeah.
You're already on to your next seeds to grow. It's crazy like that.
How many corns did we plant? How many corn plants?
We planted 3 rows of corn that were 16 feet long, 1 feet apart from each other. So I think it was
48 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I think it was 3 rows of 16 or something like that.
It was a lot, and they're all gone. They're all gone.
Well, we ate four.
They weren't quite ready, but we had some that were looking really good, and every day when we would go out there and water, there'd be another 3 or 4 of them missing or, torn open and chewed on.
I think it's squirrels, because rabbits can't climb up corn stalks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's...
Do squirrels do that?
And birds, too.
I didn't think about that.
You guys have magpies or crows? Of course you'll have crows.
Yeah, we got crows.
Yeah, watch the birds. They'll get out there and make a day of it.
So once again, this is what you said before, buddy. You asked about learning experiences. This is another learning experience. You've got to, now we have to know how to protect those things next year so that we don't waste the money on seeds and all the time it took, to grow corn.
Yeah, it's been a real learning process with the varmints and also the pests. We've lost several things from pests also.
Yeah, that's
There's Asian beetles and different types of flea beetles, and I don't really know what all.
I think a lot of people make the mistake of they focus so much on, I've got to put this much compost in the seed. On the growing side of it, but they totally overlook the pest management and the critters.
That's us.
A little bitty fence around, your garden is going to keep the deer out. Chicken wire, you keep the rabbits out. There's a lot of things that are going to go in there and munch. You can keep out.
We were trying to figure out how the rabbits were even getting in, and Rhonda found a rabbit nest full of babies. They were actually living in the garden.
So tiny.
Nice.
Yeah, and our garden is not a little 5x5 garden. Our garden is 50 feet long by 25. It is a massive section of our property, and that's just half the size of the one we want to build next year. We want the one next year to be we want to add another 50 feet onto it because we feel like we didn't get enough room. We grew cucumbers like mad dog crazy. I mean, we are getting 12 to 15 cucumbers every single day. We have so many bottles of pickled cucumbers. It's amazing.
And the chickens,
I was going to say,
all the birds
what are you
love
doing?
those.
Yeah, we give them to family. When she goes to Texas, we feed them to the birds. The birds love them. The chickens, and we got turkeys now too, and we'll tell you about that in a minute. But the turkeys love them too. We just grab a couple of cucumbers, rip them off the vine, and just with your fingers, just break them open, throw them on the grass, and they just boom, they swarm them.
They fight over them.
They fight over them.
Yeah, Rhonda's going to have to throw some out the window when she passes by on 35 or something.
Every time I drive to Texas, I take a lot of eggs, like 10 dozen probably, along with multiple jars of pickles, different kinds of pickles, and cowboy
hot sauces. We sent honey last time.
Homemade hot sauce.
Cowboy candy.
Wow.
Yeah, all that. All coming from the garden, so it's all good. The pepper plants are finally doing well. We have some really beautiful pepper plants now. Another learning experience that I'll tell you about. We planted 4x8 beds, 4 of them. And we grew tomatoes down the center and peppers around the outside, pepper plants. So stupid. Just so stupid.
Yeah.
Because what I didn't realize is that the tomato plants get to be 6 feet tall and they blocked out all of the sun from the pepper plants. They just stunted them.
Yeah,
so the pepper plants didn't actually start growing until the tomatoes started dying back because of the heat. The heat just killed them.
Yeah. And the peppers like the heat, the hotter it gets, the better off. And I've learned to put them, in the western sun, to where they get like at evening about this time of year, it gets really hot in the afternoons and stuff. And they love that shit. You go out and throw some water in there. They love it. And the tomatoes don't because they'll burn. So I've done the same thing. I'll put the peppers and the tomatoes together, and I've learned to separate them. And it's working out for me.
You tell me, buddy. I think the tomato plants even probably sucks a lot of the nutrients out of the ground that the peppers needed.
Yes,
I think they were just too close.
Well, and they're fed differently. They need different things to feed on. They're. And I don't want to get way into the weeds about it, but the nutrients they need are different. So if you're feeding one thinking it's going to feed the other, a lot of times I was feeding the tomatoes because I want that big, juicy, meaty tomato, the one you win a prize at the state fair with or whatever. But then you're suffering, your peppers are suffering. So.
And we're not complaining by any means. We're not complaining. We're actually celebrating because all of it was a learning experience. And we're going to know now, for the fall and for the winter and for the spring, we're going to know now what we can do that we did wrong last time and try a few new things. I'll give you another learning experience. Pots. We don't like it. We don't like 5-gallon bucket planting, and we don't like those pots, fabric pots. Our stuff just did not do good in that. There wasn't enough dirt. There wasn't enough nutrients. It just, for us, it didn't work out.
For
I think
my
it'd be
experience,
perfectly
is
fine for like a patio. A patio would be a great place for something like that, but not for a big garden. If you got the ground, use the ground.
yeah, it stunts the growth, and then the ground just has so many more minerals, and worms can get in there and feed it, which is not going to crawl up in, unless you're just really lucky, crawl up in a pot. Every time I plant stuff in the fabric pots or a pot, it stunts the growth. I mean, you can. It's just I've learned. I still use them because my living situation, I have to. But if I had my choices, I would definitely go in the ground. It's just so much better for you.
Well, and people will ask us, why do you need so many tomatoes? Why do you need so many peppers and all this other stuff? Well, because we had expected to have a really nice, when we first started this whole thing, to have a really nice honey supply. And we were going to put a stand downtown that goes throughout the whole summer and sell the honey and also sell whatever extra vegetables and eggs that we have. And that's part of it, self-sustainable, making money from your product. So that's why we wanted all this stuff. But none of it really matched up timing wise. So we really got to dial stuff in. If you want to make money off of stuff, you want to be productive and make money off stuff, you need to dial in stuff. You need to be making logs and schedules and planning ahead and getting the right fertilizers. And, if you're going to go all organic, which we are, you got to get the right fertilizers and the right watering and all that kind of stuff has to all gel together. The Amish people around here, they really got it dialed in. They know what they're doing. You go down to one of these Amish stands where they got all their product, and it's beautiful. They got gorgeous product. I mean, the peppers are perfect. The tomatoes are just beautiful. They dial it in perfectly. Now, if you want to just grow it for your own personal use, you can do chaos gardening. It's not a problem. You can do stuff out of buckets and feed yourself that way. But if you want to supply other people and make a little scratch off it, which we want to do, aside from the honey, you're going to have to go deeper.
Yeah. So what would you say your biggest win would be overall, the biggest win you would have for the season?
Well, for me, it's not the season. For me, it's the whole entire homestead itself. It's getting out of the city. For me, and I'm sure Rhonda feels the same way, the city was just sucking the life out of us. It's horrible living, and probably where you live, it's not really the city. You live in an urbanish sort of area. We lived for the past 5-6 years or whatever longer. We've been living in city centers because that's where my buildings were. That's where we were building. We were with all the zombies and the freaks and the people that are out all night long and the shootings and all that stuff, using city utilities and drinking their nasty water and all that, the noise, everything going around. It just, for me personally, it gets into my soul. It's hard. It's hard for me. Anytime I could, Rhonda knows this, we took a break from work, whatever in the past, we would go to the woods. And the very second that I step into the woods, drive into the woods, smell the woods, it all just releases. So for me, the big deal was getting out to nature, getting out to the country.
I have to agree with that. I think I'm probably a different person. Like my personality has changed because in the city, when you're sitting there listening to sirens constantly and thinking about the car that just ran into the stop sign outside your window and people, stolen car, different types of stuff happening all the time. It just wears on you. And yeah.
My prepper brothers and sisters, homesteading is not for everyone. Not every prepper and or survivalist needs to be a homesteader, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You may have talents and gifts that are outside the realm of homesteading. You may have products and services that homesteaders require and are willing to barter for. But if your goal is to be completely self-sufficient and self-reliant, you'd be better off as a homesteader. You'll work hard, not just with your brain, but with your hands and your whole body. You'll make costly mistakes along the way, but you'll learn from them as well. You'll have successes that drive you and heartbreaking losses that will ground you. But you'll dig deep. You'll improvise, adapt, and overcome. You'll have good days and bad days, great days, lazy days, and fun days, and at times you'll hate it and you'll question yourself as to why you even started it. But mostly, you'll fall in love with it. And just like most other homesteaders, you'll one day say to yourself, I just wish I had done this 10 years ago. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Rivers winding round words in my head. Shivering pines say that summer is dead. Chest feels hollow and my hands are numb. Do my best to swallow all the things I've done. You break your back but you still don't have bread. You won't go back on the things that you said. You bleed your heart out and it takes every drop. You've come too far now to ever stop. Wash me in the water and I'll never go back, even when I'm walking to dead man pass. You can't trust a man 'cause he'll just let you down. Crooked and twisted we grow from the ground. From dust we came in, dust we shall return. From dust we came in, dust we shall return. Wash me in the water and I'll never go back, even when I'm walking through dead man paths. Wash me